I would touch it, but I'm afraid I'd catch on fire. And then he went home one day and says, damn, I ain't got no books.
This copy restored, fetching up to $30,000.
Most people walk into the pawn shop with gold jewelry or collectibles, but sometimes they bring history bound in leather. And when an expert confirms its authenticity, the silence in the room says everything. Values skyrocket, negotiations shift, and Rick has seconds to decide. Today we're uncovering the jaw-dropping rare book moments that completely change the outcome of the deal. Are you ready for this? Sometimes we underestimate a book, a single sheet of paper, because at first glance it feels ordinary, just ink on a page. But that perception changes instantly in this deal. What appears to be nothing more than an old printed sheet turns out to be something far more profound, a fragment of human history, a piece of the invention that permanently changed how knowledge moved through the world. And that moment begins with a sentence that sounds almost casual.
What have we got this time?
Okay, this time I have brought for you the most incomplete book that I've ever brought. This is an actual printed page from the Gutenberg Bible, the very first printed book.
Not a reproduction, not a later edition. A genuine leaf, a double-sided sheet printed in the mid-15th century when Johannes Gutenberg was pioneering a technology that would spark the printing revolution. What makes the room go quiet isn't just the name Gutenberg Bible. It's the fact that one of its pages is now sitting on the counter of a Las Vegas pawn shop.
In the 1920s, a famous book dealer named Gabriel Wells came upon an incomplete copy of the Gutenberg Bible, and he broke it up into single pages, and he put it with a bibliographical essay, and he had it very beautifully bound, and he sold them as single pages where he puts a leaf of the Gutenberg Bible and in the approximate years that they believe it was printed.
In the 1920s, a rare book dealer dismantled an incomplete Gutenberg Bible and sold its pages separately. It may sound controversial, even sacrilegious to some collectors, but that decision is precisely why individuals today can own a fragment of a book once considered untouchable.
It's printed on very fine paper that they imported from Italy into Germany in the period, and it's been hand rubricated with colors with red and blue after it's been printed so that it looked more like a manuscript.
Handmade Italian paper, early metal type, red and blue rubrication applied by hand to resemble traditional manuscripts. This isn't just scripture, it is physical proof of the exact moment humanity crossed into a new intellectual era.
Well, there's no more important invention in the history of democracy than the printing press, because it's the democratization of knowledge. It puts the power of knowledge into the hands of the people.
The printing press has often been compared to the internet of the 15th century. It didn't simply create books, it shattered the monopoly on information moving knowledge beyond monasteries and into the hands of ordinary people. And now the focus shifts from historical significance to something far more immediate.
Okay, so the big question, how much you want for it?
I came up with a number, and you better brace yourself, but remember the importance of the book, of $65,000 for the page.
Okay.
$65,000 for a single sheet of paper. Rick understands that if it's authentic, that number might only be the beginning.
Let me get her down here.
I would be delighted. She's going to be, I think she'll be flawed to see it.
When Rebecca, the rare book specialist, arrives, the atmosphere tightens. One overlooked detail could turn $65,000 into a costly mistake.
The world's most famous book.
Is that what I think it is?
That's a page of it.
Right, a leaf.
A page to me, a leaf to you.
Well, a page is actually one side and then the other, so it's two pages, one leaf.
All right, you got me. Okay.
Can I hold it up to the light?
Sure.
Okay.
She lifts the page toward the light, searching for the faint chain lines embedded in handmade 15th century paper details nearly impossible to replicate convincingly.
It's real, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
2 words and the entire deal shifts.
What's it worth?
Dealers I know and trust, they're gonna place this around $80,000. So I think that is fair to ask for the way things are looking right now in the market.
$80,000, that means potential margin if Rick negotiates wisely. The bargaining begins quick and deliberate.
40,000.
I can't do 40 on it.
I mean that's what I feel comfortable with. Auctions are definitely not an exact science.
Yeah, I mean, 40,000 is just so on the low scale in terms of what I can take for it. I mean, I didn't even want to come down so low, but 55. You know, I'm trying to be fair with you, Rick.
And I know you are. I would go 45,000. That's the best I could do.
I'm going to offer it to you for 47,000, and it would be foolish.
The gap narrows. Rick weighs history against risk significance against business reality. Then he agrees.
You're really mad at me. So 47, we got to do
You're
it.
not going to be mad when you make a small fortune on it.
It's amazing. That's right. I now own a page of the Gutenberg Bible.
$47,000 for a double-sided page more than 5 centuries old, yet the number stands notably below auction benchmarks. At Christie's in October 2023, a comparable Gutenberg leaf from the A Noble Fragment series realized $119,700. Heritage Auctions has recorded another leaf selling for $162,500. These results demonstrate that market values often exceed Rick's purchase price by a significant margin. So what do you think, was $47,000 a bargain for a piece of history, or would you have held out for auction? And now we move on to the next item. Today, someone walks into the shop carrying something that doesn't sparkle, doesn't weigh much, and doesn't impress at first glance, just an old book. And then he says one sentence that makes the entire room pause.
This is the Treaty of Amity, Commerce, and Navigation, otherwise known as Jay's Treaty. But what's special about this is Thomas Jefferson's personal copy.
Thomas Jefferson, author of the Declaration of Independence, third President of the United States, one of the most influential founding fathers in American history. If this book truly once sat on the shelves of his personal library, then this is no longer just a book. It becomes a fragment of national history.
Whoa. This is absolutely amazing. Anything out of Jefferson's library is really rare because his original library, he sold to the Library of Congress, and then he went home one day and says, damn, I got no books.
My great-great-grandfather worked in the Senate, and he bid at the estate auction of Jefferson's retirement library. He bought that along with a number of other books.
Is this all the books he bought, or?
These are all books he bought. This is the only one that's still left in the family.
The story sounds like something pulled straight from a history textbook. After the British burned Washington in 1812, the Library of Congress was reduced to ashes. Jefferson sold his private library to help rebuild the nation's intellectual foundation. Later, he began assembling a new retirement library at Monticello. That collection was auctioned off in 1829 after his death. If the provenance holds, this book once belonged to Jefferson himself.
And you can see that he paid 15 cents for it.
Really?
I'm going to ask a little bit more than that.
Okay.
From 15 cents to a number no one in the room has spoken yet, but Rick knows a compelling story isn't enough. He needs proof.
Jefferson had a secret way of marking his books. He would go and he'd find the I page and put a T, his first initial T, in front of the I page. So that is what they should look like there.
And when that small T appears on the worn page, the entire deal shifts. This is no longer family lore. It's Jefferson's own discrete mark of ownership. But there's more.
There's also a name written right here. We don't know if it's in Jefferson's hand or not.
John Beckley was actually important in Jefferson's life. He was one of his early campaign managers and a friend of Jefferson and an early ally. I've sold a lot of Jefferson materials and seen a lot, and that looks like Jefferson's delicate handwriting.
Okay.
John Beckley, an early political ally and campaign manager. If that inscription is genuine, this is not just a book from Jefferson's library, it's a book bearing his handwriting. Now the only question left is money.
How much are you looking to get out?
I'm looking for $75,000 for this.
Okay.
$75,000 for a book once purchased for 15 cents. And surprisingly, the expert doesn't hesitate.
If I were offering this to one of my good clients, I'd probably put a price to $75,000 on it.
Okay.
An asking price of $75,000, an appraisal of $75,000. Now comes the hardest part: negotiation.
I'm a buyer at $40,000.
From 75 down to 40 in a single sentence. Rick isn't just buying history, he's buying inventory. He has to consider risk liquidity and how long that capital might sit tied up in one extraordinary book.
I could take it down to 60,000.
I couldn't do that. I will go 47, and I am skittish at that.
47,000. Careful steps forward. The seller knows an item like this doesn't surface twice. Rick knows buyers at this level are rare.
50,000. That's it. 50,000.
Oh, God.
You can have it for 50,000. I'll walk out of here.
Let me have it for 48.
It's got to be 50. It's got to be 50.
Oh, my God.
I cannot go below 50.
Deal.
Sold.
Okay.
Just like that, $50,000 changes hands. A copy of Jay's Treaty, believed to have belonged to Thomas Jefferson, now belongs to Rick Harrison. From 15 cents to $50,000.
I've gotten $50,000 for it. I would have sold it for less than 50 grand.
$50,000. That's the number Rick settled on. But was it too much or a hidden bargain? A standard 1795 Jay's Treaty without special provenance once sold at Fleischer's auctions for around $550, nearly 100 times less than Rick paid. Yet once Jefferson provenance enters the equation, the scale changes entirely. At Christie's, Jefferson-related works like Notes on the State of Virginia have reached between $150,000 and $260,000. RR Auction has recorded Founding Fathers Association copies selling for as much as $275,000. Against those figures, $50,000 suddenly looks modest. So the real question isn't whether Rick overpaid, it's whether with fully verified provenance, this book could one day be worth double or even 5 times what he paid for it. Are you ready for the final deal on Pawn Stars? Treasure doesn't always glitter like gold or diamonds. Sometimes it's a century-old book, its cover worn, its pages yellowed with time, yet inside it holds a world of imagination that once captivated millions. And this time, what lands on the counter isn't just a children's story, it's a piece of American literary history.
Brought you another very exciting book,
Okay.
The Wizard of Oz, first
Whoa.
edition.
You mean The Wonderful Wizard of Oz?
Well, that depends on what price you paid for it. So. I bought the book from a family that had it for over 100 years.
The fact that the book remained in the same family for over a century is enough to catch Rick's attention. But the seller isn't finished. He didn't just bring in a first edition, he brought in something even more compelling.
This is actually not only a first edition of the book, but this is actually a signed first edition.
That is definitely cool.
A first edition of The Wonderful Wizard of Oz is already rare. A first edition signed by L. Frank Baum, that's a completely different level. Published in 1900, long before Dorothy and the Yellow Brick Road became cultural icons, early copies like this have always been prized by serious collectors, and the seller clearly understands that.
You can see on the first title page they have the famous Tin Man, the Scarecrow, which are not so far off from the film adaptations of them.
I love that they're color illustrations, though.
Those color illustrations are the soul of this first edition. But just as the story begins to sound magical, reality starts to surface.
But my problem is, it's in a little rough shape, I'll tell you that. All right, so how much you want for it?
I was thinking, though, something on the order of $10,000.
$10,000, not a small number for a book more than 100 years old. But Rick doesn't see magic, he sees risk. The cover is worn, there are signs of water exposure, and most concerning of all previous restoration attempts were done improperly. Rick calls in Rebecca, a rare book expert, to confirm his concerns.
You can see this was put together with tape that was not archival. It was very, very acidic, and it's left all of these marks here.
Acidic tape. In the world of rare books, that's almost silent destruction. Over time, acid continues to eat away at the paper, leaving permanent damage. And in the collector's market, condition can determine everything. Rick asks the question every investor must eventually ask.
Am I going to be able to sell it in that bad a shape?
There will be people who want it. However, given the shape that it's in, people are going to lowball you. The only way you're going to realize something is if it gets cleaned up more with restoration. And that can get really expensive too. I
know that.
How expensive?
Should the restoration go well, I could see that this copy restored fetching up to $30,000.
$30,000. The number lands like a spark at the end of a tunnel. From $10,000 to the potential of tripling in value. But between today and that $30,000 stands time, money, and uncertainty, possibly years of restoration, possibly thousands more invested, and no guarantee of perfection. Rick isn't just buying a book, he's considering a long-term project.
You know, I don't mean to beat you up, but I'd risk $3,000 on it. I wouldn't risk no more. And I know it doesn't sound like a lot of money, but it's going to turn into a 2-year project for me. That's the problem.
I understand.
$3,000, a fraction of the asking price, not because Rick doubts the book's importance, but because he understands the numbers behind the dream.
The absolute bottom dollar number is going to be something like $6,000.
I don't think we're going to make a deal then, because the best I'm going to go is 4.
364. The numbers bounce across the glass counter. The gap is only $2,000, but for Rick, that margin represents security in a risky gamble. No one budges.
I can't do 4. Sorry on this one, but I'm gonna have to click my heels 3 times and take it home, I think.
Okay.
So,
all right, if you change your mind.
The deal ends without a handshake. The signed first edition of The Wonderful Wizard of Oz leaves the shop, and almost immediately debate erupts online. Many viewers accused Rick of lowballing once again. One sarcastic comment spread quickly. Book worth $30,000, best I can do is $3,000. Auction data from major houses like Heritage Auctions and Sotheby's shows that signed first editions in strong condition can indeed reach tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes even more with clear provenance. But condition always dictates final price, and this copy carried significant restoration damage. So the real question isn't simply whether Rick lowballed the deal, it's this. Between the promise of $30,000 and the reality of years of costly restoration, which decision was truly the smarter move? 3 books, 3 moments where history met hard negotiation under bright pawn shop lights, from a Gutenberg leaf to Jefferson's personal copy, to a signed Wizard of Oz that walked away without a deal. Each one proved that value isn't just about age, it's about condition, provenance, and timing. If you enjoyed this breakdown of jaw-dropping rare book deals, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. Which deal would you have taken?